I just hope y'all know the WNBA don't pay my bills at all. I don't even think that pays one of my bills.
But, yeah, sports needs villains. I don't have a problem with it. She makes the WNBA more interesting.
Angel Reese is facing intense criticism from experts after her recent remarks about her WNBA salary falling short of covering her expenses. The star athlete, earning a reported $773,000 annually, sparked outrage by lamenting that her income isn't enough to pay her extravagant $8,000 monthly rent. Her comments paint a picture of someone struggling to make ends meet, despite earning a figure that many can only dream of.
Now these complaints are coming from the star.
Yeah, sports needs villains. I don't have a problem with it. She makes the WNBA more interesting.
Reese, often regarded as the league's most pampered player, seems to believe she's overdue for a raise. It appears she's stirring the pot once again, as it's been a while since her last scandal. And now, here we go again.
Can't pay them bills, baby. I just hope y'all know the WNBA don't pay my bills at all. I don't even think that pays one of my bills. Literally, I'm trying to think of like my rent for.
What exactly are you demanding more money for, Angel? You've barely played 10 games this season, while Caitlin Clark hustled through 38. Meanwhile, you're drawing a crowd of just 7,000 per game.
This offseason in the WNBA would be the incessant whining about their minimum wage salaries. I mean, it isn't an actual business. They know their league is a charity that survives off of generous donations from the NBA. It was 100% intentional.
And yet somehow, you're expecting LeBron James level paychecks. Let's be real. You're playing yourself more than you're playing the game. Angel Reese, the self-proclaimed face of the WNBA, is out here acting like life has dealt her an unfair hand. She's earning a WNBA salary of $73,400, yet she has the audacity to complain it's not enough to cover her extravagant $88,000 monthly rent.
So I don't know if she's complaining or just stating, but if she didn't play basketball, all of those other things that she's getting would not be able to pay that $8,000 a month. Oh, it's, you know what? You guys are all coming down on me and I can't.
The reason I'm assuming that Angel Reese was not modeling lingerie is because she constantly complains about lonely men on social media sexualizing her. Lonely men look at my bikini pictures and compliment my beauty. It's so traumatizing.
That's right. She's living in a place that costs $96,000 a year and then wonders why her finances don't add up. How out of touch can you get? It's as if basic math is completely lost on her. Spending $8,000 a month on rent isn't just rent, it's a lifestyle choice. The average person in Chicago, where rent averages around $2,000, would laugh in disbelief at these complaints. Most people can't blow their entire paycheck on a luxury apartment and then play the victim. Yet here we are, with Angel Reese lamenting her situation while the rest of the WNBA hustles just to make ends meet. The audacity is truly off the charts.
Angel Reese was complaining because her woke welfare donations from the dump aren't enough to cover her rent in Chicago. They are broke. They don't have endorsement deals. I mean, who is going to pay an unknown pretend basketball player to endorse their brand?
You can't say, I'm going to be a heel, I'm going to talk trash, I'm going to point to my ring because you don't have one, and do all these things and then go, oh, woe is me. Oh, it's, you know what? You guys are all coming down on me and I.
Exactly. Don't even get me started on her financial decisions. With all the money she's pulling in from endorsements, sponsorships, and her podcast, you'd think she'd realize that renting an overpriced place might not be the smartest move. But no. Rather than making sound financial choices, like buying a house or investing, she's burning through cash faster than most people can earn it. What's the plan here, Angel? Wait for some magic fairy to swoop in and solve all of her problems.
It's a boom and come, but think about how many people don't and have to actually live off that.
It's both hilarious and pathetic. Angel Reese is in a prime position to set a meaningful example for her peers, WNBA players who are genuinely struggling to make a decent living. These are athletes without million-dollar endorsement deals, relying solely on their league salaries to scrape by. Yet here's Reese, whining about her rent as if she's not swimming in cash from every possible direction. Her complaints are not just tone-deaf, they're outright insulting to those in the league who are truly fighting to stay afloat. The biggest off-season gripe in the WNBA might be the minimum wage salaries, but Reese is out here acting like she's carrying the entire league on her shoulders. Meanwhile, the WNBA itself is hemorrhaging money, with $50 million in losses projected this season. Angel, maybe take a look at the league's balance sheet before claiming you're being cheated. The reality is the WNBA is barely surviving, propped up by the NBA's financial support, essentially a charitable lifeline. Without those NBA dollars, the WNBA wouldn't even exist. This isn't some thriving business model, it's a passion project being kept alive out of goodwill. And don't even start with the but her endorsements argument. Yes, she's got sponsorships, but let's not pretend she's the only player in the league facing financial challenges. Most of her teammates are genuinely struggling. Without the luxury of rolling in endorsement money, They're barely making enough to get by on their NBA salaries, and yet, here's Reese, acting like her personal financial issues are some sort of national tragedy. The public has rightfully torn her to shreds over this. It's one thing to advocate for better pay, sure, but when you start acting like your luxury problems are relatable, that's a whole different story. Let's be real. It's like watching a spoiled kid whine because their toy isn't shiny enough. Meanwhile, her peers are over here just trying to afford basic living expenses. Why are we supposed to feel sorry for Reese, who's struggling to keep up with her extravagant lifestyle? Let's not forget the fact that she's clearly missing some key lessons in financial management. You're a well-paid professional athlete, yet you're spending almost 6 figures a year on rent instead of investing in a home. Seriously, what is Angel Reese doing with her money? Is it just evaporating into thin air? I guess budgeting isn't as glamorous as complaining on social media. Angel Reese seems to be living in her own reality show at this point. Instead of focusing on basketball, the actual sport she's paid to play, she's busy live streaming herself during the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Clearly, that's where her priorities lie. Social media clout over actual training. While other players are out there grinding, working on their game, Reese is busy flaunting her influencer lifestyle. So the question is she a basketball player, or just another wand of celebrity chasing likes? And don't even get me started on her whole trash-talking mission. She's all about stirring drama in the WNBA, trying to play the bad girl of the league. But when it comes to money, suddenly she's crying about her salary. This dual act of being the league's so-called villain, and then turning around to play the victim is a joke. Fans and analysts alike are rolling their eyes at the glaring contradiction. You talk a big game, Angel, but your actions are all over the place. What's worse is how she consistently fails to use her platform for anything productive. She could be speaking out on real issues within the WNBA, advocating for change, but no, she's too busy feeling sorry for herself, acting like she's the only one struggling. It's a slap in the face to every player in the league who's working hard without the luxury of endorsement deals or constant media attention. You have the platform to make a difference, Angel, but instead, all you do is whine. Her priorities seem to be lost in fantasy land. Instead of saving or investing in her future, she's living like she has an unlimited bank account, all while crying victim when the bills roll in. Angel could be out here preaching financial literacy, helping her fellow players who are genuinely struggling. But no, she'd rather throw herself a pity party because her $73,000 salary isn't enough to cover her lavish tastes. It's tone-deaf, entitled, and frankly embarrassing. What's even more laughable is that she has multiple income streams, from endorsements to her podcast, and still can't seem to figure out how to manage it all. That's when it becomes clear. The real problem isn't the salary, it's how the person spends it. Instead of building her brand and securing her financial future, she's out here screaming into the void about self-inflicted problems. The real kicker is that she has every opportunity to be financially secure, yet chooses to spend like there's no tomorrow. What's stopping her from living somewhere more reasonable? She's living as though she has LeBron James money, when in reality, she has a solid salary and some endorsements, resources that any smart person would use to build their future. But not Angel. No, she'd rather cry foul and play the poor me card instead of taking responsibility. Reese is doubling down on this victim mentality. She's not just out of touch, she's in a whole other galaxy at this point. She could be using her platform to educate other players on financial literacy, showing them how to maximize what they've got. But no, she's too busy whining about how unfair life is, all while living in a luxury pad that most people can only dream of. Next voice. Angel Reese isn't just failing herself,